All right, the time is 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. At this time, we are going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call. Councilmember Maldonado.
Here.
Councilmember Buccellato.
Here.
Councilmember Neal. Here. Councilmember Cortez. Here. Councilmember Larson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mendoza.
Here.
And Mayor Walter. Here. We have a quorum. We are going to begin this evening with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. At this time, we'll go ahead and open our call to the public. Call to the public for public comment on issues within the jurisdiction of the Town Council. Council rules limit public comment to 3 minutes, and individual council members may respond to criticism made by those commenting, may ask staff to review a matter raised, or may ask that a matter be placed upon a future agenda. However, members of the council shall not discuss or act on any matter during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. I do see a hand raised, as well as I have received a request to speak. I will start with the first request, which was received by a Miss Donna Fenton, and she'd like to speak on public safety. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm good. Thank you for listening to me. I'm Donna Fenton. I live at 3610 North Wisconsin Avenue in Florence Gardens. We have an individual that lives in our community, and she has been causing a lot of issues. My husband and I have filed charges against her, disturbing the peace, public nuisance, disorderly conduct, and interfering with judicial proceedings. She's violated our order of harassment 4 times in the last 2 weeks. We have video evidence of this. We've called the police since she's been there at least 50, maybe 75 times on her. They've yet to arrest her. They say they've turned the matter over to the town attorney. We tried to contact the city attorney and got the runaround and could not find out who it was. There hasn't been any progress in resolving this issue. This has been going on for 20 months. I think that the judicial system in this town has pretty much dropped the ball in this case. I don't know how one person can upset the entire neighborhood and not suffer any consequences. It seems like with them being out there so many times, how much does it cost for the police to come and respond that many times with the same issue with no resolution? I don't want to wait until someone in the injury is killed or before any action is taken. If the town can't solve this problem, we want to request that have a police officer on the Wisconsin Avenue 24/7. I am truly scared for my life. My husband as well, and several other people on our block. I just want you to be aware of this situation, and I hope that some kind of a resolution could be made, because we just can't put up with it anymore. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and give direction. I do not see our police chief here this evening. Oh, there he is. I apologize. I'm used to you being up here. Will you please follow up with her? And our town attorney is Mr. Clifford Mattice, and he'll follow up if necessary as well. And please give a report back. I see Ms. Courtney Ramirez's hand raised. We can go ahead and unmute her, please.
Hi, good evening, council and residents. I am also calling because I have concerns with our local police department, but more Importantly, involves noise ordinances, and I know that you guys have heard from me many times over the last 14 months with Western Crossing and their multiple violations of the noise ordinance. So again, I ask, why have all these these ordinances in general when our city does not follow them, particularly our law enforcement? That's why they are there, to enforce the law. The law is the law. Noise ordinances, it's a misdemeanor, jail time, fines, etc. I have personally called and made several complaints to our police department at all hours of the day just to get the runaround also from them. And I hear that the officers use their discretion. Well, they've been using their discretion for the last 14 months. Yet, you guys are very proactive at doing all this see-click fix for weeds and, forcing foreclosure and liens and all kinds of stuff on the residents. Yet, you guys aren't enforcing noise ordinances with these construction companies, and it's absurd. And I've been asking council for months, and instead of saying, oh, I have nothing at the end of call to council, I have been asking you guys to try to do something about this for 14 months and nothing. And I was promised it'd be on the agenda in July, and here we are in September, and apparently it's going to be on the schedule next week, or the next meeting. The runaround is all we get many times, and it's frustrating. You guys work for us, and I think many times you forget that. And it's frustrating when our cops aren't doing their job and citing and fining and doing whatever they need to do to this construction company next door who continues to violate our noise ordinance. You guys give them 12, 13, 15 hours a day to cause noise and ruckus in the neighborhood, disturbing us. Make them stick to their time so that us people can have the last few minutes of rest in the morning before we have to deal with their bull crap all day. And why aren't the cops doing anything? That's what I want to know. It's crazy that you guys come after the people for all kinds of things, our weeds and whatever, but you don't enforce the law with these home builders. And I want an answer. I want to know why. Why are the cops not enforcing the law? I know there's other fish to fry and bigger.
I apologize, our timer is set to automatic, so it did pause. But I am going to go ahead and give direction for our police chief to follow up, as well as our town manager. I do share the frustration, especially when it comes to the noise ordinance, because it is something that we've asked to be brought forward on both spectrums. So my expectation is that it will be at the next meeting, and that's the direction given. Is there anybody else that would like to speak at this time? All right, seeing none, this is our first call to the public. There will be a second. We'll close the first call to the public. Moving on to presentations. Presentation A is a presentation of the Outstanding Employee Recognition Program Award for the month of August to Adriana Mariscal for her outstanding contributions to the town of Florence. Council? All right, thank you all for being here. Yeah, that would be, thanks. All right, so here's a little bit of background for this award. I love this award because it gives us an opportunity to celebrate our employees. And every month, the Culture Committee gets together and they listen to the nominations that have been received from your peers. And they talk about them and they select the best selection this month. You are the best selection, our showcase employee for the town of Florence. And I just want to share with you what your colleague has said about you. The following is what coworkers had to say about Adriana's contribution to the work environment. I recommend Adriana Mariscal for the Outstanding Employee of the Month award. I've only worked with Adriana for a short time, but in that short time, I have seen an employee who goes above and beyond to help others. Answer questions, help the customers, and jump in to do whatever needs to be done. She works well as a team member, and I have never heard her respond to anyone negatively when they have asked for information or help. She is also an extremely hard worker and prides herself on meeting goals and accomplishing difficult tasks. I have seen her try to get everyone on the same page, and she takes the initiative whenever there is a problem. An example was a recent water break. A customer called in questioning their water not being on, and she tracked down someone who could give her detailed information, how big of an issue it was, and the area that was out. And then Adriana passed the information to others in the department so they can answer questions regarding the water line break. The call volume coming into the office was very heavy, and she was right there helping answer the phones, answer questions, and she handled customers very professionally. Adriana is an employee who is always looking to learn and understand, more importantly, about accounting, to perform her job at the highest level, assist others, and accomplish tasks and projects accurately and quickly. She is extremely professional with her customers, and she can calm an angry and irate customer. Adriana always wears a smile, and she never takes things personally. As I pointed out previously, Adriana is always willing to help, whether climbing under a desk to plug in an electronic device, stuffing envelopes, running to the bank or the post office, or moving boxes and files. She can be depended upon to assist. Adriana is definitely an asset to the Town of Florence Finance Department and to our citizens, and I hope she will be considered for this recognition. She's also an incredible softball player, folks. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. I just want to say thank you for the finance team. I love working with you guys. Makes my job so much more coming to work. It doesn't actually feel like a job. It feels more like my family. And thank you for allowing me to decorate however I want and letting me be the cheerleader. But I'm so grateful to work for the town I love. Growing up here, this is all I know, and I'm just proud to be from Florence, and I'm proud to be serving you guys.
Let's give her a big round of applause. This is your certificate of excellence. Would you like to invite your family up as well?
My gang. And I just want to say thanks for my water guys for coming. I know you guys are always tired, and but thank you guys for coming. I'm so happy to work with you guys. So thank you again.
I was waiting. Almost forgot.
We do. Mr. King, do you want to speak from the podium or do you want to speak from over here?
Mayor, council members, every year the Arizona State Parks and Recreation Association holds an annual awards banquet. This year, Allison Feliz was awarded the Young Professional Award of the Year award, and this award is highly competitive every year. One person gets it, many apply, many do not get it. Allison received this award and deserves every bit of the recognition she's getting and has gotten over the past couple weeks. This award was given to her on September 22nd at the annual awards banquet in Glendale, Arizona. There is a video that
I'm ready when you are.
we would like to share with you, and we'll go on after that.
To say that Allie grew up in Parks and Recreation is an understatement. Allie's father, George, was the Parks and Recreation director, and her mother, Laura, ran the senior center for over 20 years. At 15 years old, she began her career as a lifeguard. Over the years, Allie's expertise and leadership within the department grew as she managed numerous recreation programs, special events, and facilities. In 2009, at 20 years old, Allie was hired full-time as a recreation programmer overseeing youth and teen programs. She continued in that role until 2014, when she began coordinating special events and marketing. In 2017, she was reclassified as a recreation coordinator. In March 2020, she was promoted to recreation superintendent, overseeing the entire recreation division. Allie has brought new life to existing programs and improved many events along the way. Most impressively, Allie recently served as Community Services Director for over a year, while continuing her duties as Recreation Superintendent. Allie's commitment and passion for the Florence community, her team members, and the entire Parks and Recreation industry are contagious. A longtime member of APRA, Allie was elected to serve as the APRA 2016 Southern Region Representative and volunteered at the 2022 NRPA Conference. The town of Florence is very fortunate to have Allie as a leader in Parks and Recreation and the community, stated Brian Hughes, former Community Services Director. Her dedication and enthusiasm are amazing. She is an inspiration to everyone she meets. Congratulations to Allie Feliz for winning this year's Young Professional Award.
So Allie, I'm going to represent the award to you again. Congratulations. So everybody's aware, the night of the 22nd when Allie received this award the first time, the town manager and her entire team was there with her family to celebrate the evening, and it was a big surprise to her. She had no idea it was coming. So Allie, congratulations. You deserve every bit of this. I'd like you to say a few words.
Thank you. I prepared a little something just because you guys know how much I love to speak. But I'm very honored to receive this award, and I hope it brings pride to the town of Florence. I did not think I was going to get emotional. Sorry. oh my goodness, sorry. Seeing the smiling faces at all our facilities and events has driven my passion for all these years, and I feel very fortunate to be able to do this in the town where I grew up. I thank the council, past and present, for providing, and the administration for providing me, for believing in me and allowing me to take part in various professional development opportunities over the years that have helped me gain connections in the Parks and Recreation field and insights into the industry trends. I'd also like to thank the mentors that I've had throughout the journey and continue to challenge me. To my family, who most of them couldn't be here this evening because they're running our kids around to various activities and other functions. Thank you for your continued support and putting up with me as I never seem to clock out at any of the town functions that I go to. And to my parents for inspiring my passion for Parks and Recreation by volunteering me for activities and events as I was growing up. Thank you guys all, I appreciate it, and I love working here.
Ms. Garcia, would you like to present down here as well?
Yeah. So we would like to ask Trish Buchanan to come up to the front to be with council. And the clerk's office is just so proud because we now have 2 members of the clerk's office that now are certified elections professionals in the state of Arizona for municipal government elections. So as we are coming upon election season, people can feel confident and comfortable that the clerk's office is ready to help. I am very proud of Trish. She's taken a long, dedicated time to be able to go to election trainings. In the state of Arizona, you have to go for 3 consecutive trainings as well as take a test. She has done everything necessary to be able to be a certified election official, and I'm very thrilled to have the help this election season. So with all that, I'd just like to congratulate Trish on a much-deserved election certificate.
I've been told I have to speak. So thank you to everybody for your support, and to Lisa's support as always, and to my council, who are always in my back corner. And I look forward to the next election season.
Yay!
Item 7 is our consent agenda, and all items on the consent agenda will be handled by a single vote as part of the consent agenda, unless a council member or a member of the public objects at the time the agenda item is called. Item A, acceptance of the public improvements in the warranty period for the Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 60 and Unit 57, and the Sun City Boulevard Phase 2A. Item B, authorization to enter into a cooperative use contract with Ferguson Enterprises to purchase MRO supplies, industrial building, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC materials using the State of Arizona's cooperative contract, CTR 047692, and the contract will expire September 5th, 2026, in an amount not to exceed $150,000. Item C is authorization to enter into a cooperative use contracts with Legends Technical Services of Arizona Incorporated to provide laboratory services for water and wastewater using the City of Mesa's cooperative contract number 2021181 in an amount not to exceed $160,000. Item D is approval of the August 7th, 15th, 21st, and 2023 Town Council meeting minutes. Item E is to receive and file the following boards and commission minutes. Historic District Advisory Commission minutes dated June 28th, 2023. Planning and Zoning Commission minutes of July 20th, 2023. And Florence Teen Council minutes of June 14th and July 12th, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our consent agenda. Is there anybody on council or in public that would like any item removed at this time? Seeing no such motion, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, unfinished business. A is discussion approval, disapproval of a solid waste and recycling services contract utilizing the Town of Queen Creek cooperative contract with Waste Connection of Arizona Incorporated, formerly known as Right-of-Way Disposal, RAD, for solid waste services. Mr. Carl Dudding.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Staff is recommending that we approve the solid waste recycling service contract utilizing the Town of Queen Creek's contract with RAD. Just a footnote, RAD in 2018 was purchased by Waste Connections of Arizona, and they started rebranding in 21, and COVID slowed that down, but I just wanted to point that out. We do get questions from the public, you know, what's the new logos, or why is there a blue truck in my neighborhood once in a while, so. That branding will, I think, be completed in early 2024. The contract highlights, this is a 3-year contract with 3 one-year options. If we go to full term, that will take us out to 2029. This contract will run concurrent with our landfill contract. There's no changes in our current pricing. And the contract does have a inflation index of 5% max or decrease based on diesel fuel prices and a CPI, same as our previous contract. We talked about this last time. This is a cooperative contract, but before we agreed to move forward with RAD or bring this to you, we searched out another cooperative with a local provider to get some pricing, and that was with Republic Services, and their pricing came in quite a bit higher than RAD. Larry Williams is here tonight. He's our contract liaison with Waste Connections and RAD, and I'll invite him up here if you have any questions or comments.
Good evening. My name's Larry Williams. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director for Right-of-Way, well, Waste Connections of Arizona, formerly known as Right-of-Way Disposal. Madam Mayor, Council, I just wanted to thank you for allowing us the time and the possibilities of extending our current services through the co-op agreement with the town of Queen Creek.
Council, do we have any questions? Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no such questions, we need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve, sorry, I was on the wrong agenda item. Our contract with Solid Waste and Recycling Service contract utilizing the town of Queen Creek's cooperative contract with Waste Connections of Arizona, Inc., formerly known as RAD.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
9A, new business. Discussion, approval, disapproval to terminate the collection of police development impact fees effective September 6th, 2023. Ms. Becky Jimenez.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Town Council. We're presenting this item after discussion with our development impact fee rate consultant. We had several conversations with the police chief and with the rate consultant and administration, Lisa, Chris, the town manager, in regards to the police development impact fees. Being that we have no CIP currently in the CIP plan for a police station, we discussed this because it's quite a ways off before we can move forward. We cannot purchase any police vehicles under our lease program. It's not allowed under state law. But we can purchase new vehicles, but in order to purchase new vehicles, it requires new staff. And at this point in the town's position, we're not ready to go forward with that yet. We have plenty of staff currently and no plans for a future substation in the next 5 years. That does not mean in the next few years, if our population increases, that could change. We can always go back and amend this and reinstate or redo the police development impact fee if we should get quite an influx of development down here. But for the time being, we're recommending to terminate the police development impact fee. And it is not included in the current utility development impact fee study that is going to go before council for adoption in January. There's just no CIP to support it at this time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Because of the technology, most of the police vehicles are highly equipped with a lot of equipment that doesn't necessitate having to come into the station anymore, or to have offices in the station. So currently we are in a good position to where we have enough vehicles, and you can only purchase new vehicles if you have new personnel. We tried different ways of seeing if we could expend funds for different items, but they cannot be used for administrative cost or the things that had been kind of brought up as a recommendation. So at this point in time, we want to ensure that we don't roll into the 10-year statutory requirement to start refunding. We did purchase some vehicles and equipment at the end of this year and this last fiscal year and early this year to suffice to get us through this period. And that'll allow us to plan to possibly purchase some land for a new substation for the future, as long as they decide to, where the location should be. So we have some planning to do with our development impact fees. Currently, we have about $1.8 million in police development impact fees. So with that, we are asking council to terminate this until we can kind of get some plans together and move forward. This would reduce the impact fees on a residential unit at about $754. And as you're aware that the impact fees are passed on to the purchasers of the home whenever it's sold. So that's included in the price of the housing. So that'll be a reduction in that. That doesn't mean that the developer is going to reduce that price. It just means that that will no longer be charged to the developer.
I'll open it up to council for questions and comments at this time. Councilmember Cordes.
So Becky, just to be clear, because I was paying attention, I promise. So when you were talking about the cars, the purchase of vehicles versus the lease of vehicles, you were talking about because we have a balance left over because we haven't used it for what our intent was?
Now, the portion of the vehicles and equipment has been totally expended, the portion I had reserved for that.
And then the rest has to be used?
For building.
For building.
Building.
So, okay, because that's where I was like, I got confused for a minute because I was like, well, what are we going to do with this money? So that remaining balance that is left, that remaining part of the fund, can only be used for a land purchase that eventually will house our police department.
Right, it's for building improvement.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Larson.
I guess my only point that I understand that it can only be used for specific things and that it can only be used within the 10-year period and that we have a large available fund balance in that account. So just so we're clear, I understand all of that. My issue is that from the citizen standpoint, if they were not collecting these fees and the developers aren't reducing it on the consumer side, and then say we need to raise more fees and we add this back at a later time, I'm thinking long-term here. I don't like the idea that then a developer will come back and add more to the consumer or the homeowner.
Right, we can only control what we can on our side. The developer is a different story, and you know, we can only do what we do here, and that is to make sure that we're in statutory compliance.
And I understand that. I guess my thoughts are from the citizen's perspective as well. If I was somebody who purchased a home and was charged for these fees and the money is sitting there and we have the intention of using it or that we need to use it within those 10 years, but then I found out that the new people that came in, that they're not paying into that. So I guess if there was a way, I guess my point is if there is a way for us to purchase land, put it to use, I don't like the idea of this money just sitting there and then not getting used, and I also don't like the idea of us not collecting the fee and then trying to add it back in, which I know that they're just going to turn that and add more to the consumer later. So I like the consistency of it, but I think this goes back to the overall overarching theme that we've all said, is we're sick and tired of planning. We want action.
Sure.
So if we can put this money to use, I'd prefer that.
The town manager has emphasized that we need to go ahead and provide a plan and move forward on these. We are very acutely aware that we need to get these spent as soon as possible and to go forward. But, you know, we have to be careful about the statutory portion of it, and we don't want to get caught into a refunding position at any time. That is very technical. You have to go back to the very beginning, 10 years ago. All the people that were paying in have to be refunded with the interest for every month that's been kept. So that is a very hard thing to do. So we don't want to get into that position, but right now we're in a fairly good position to go forward, and he does have plans to go ahead and make, look at land and see what we can do.
So I have something. I'm going to start with a quote. Planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. This is something that our councils of the past, have always expressed and continuously communicated. I can recall looking at maps that have additional fire/police substations as our community grows and as our community expands. We are looking at developers coming into our community, building at an astounding rate. We're looking at commercial that is coming into our community. These people are going to need services. And I have concerns, especially when I look at with this funding that could go towards, assistance with the dispatch center, for example, new construction, building the new substation/fire department combo. We need to put our plans in motion, and it's something that all of us have continuously communicated. I feel that if you stop collecting the impact fees, when are we going to see another housing boom like we're experiencing right now? We've been waiting a decade for these builders to come in, and now we want to say, hey, we're going to hold off, and everybody else that paid these impact fees, you don't have to worry about it. But when we all move in and we all need to have these services, let's just find a way to fund it. I think we need to look at our plans, put our plans into action, and that is my stance.
I agree.
I'm sorry, did I cut somebody off? Oh, okay, I apologize. I guess I'm gonna go back again. I'm with the mayor, and I think Kristen was saying the same thing. Why are we gonna stop collecting a fee? Because like the mayor said, if the money has been there and the intent was to utilize it in 10 years, why haven't we used it? Why are we slowing down? The building's coming. No matter how much everybody in the town tries to fight it, growth is coming our way. There is no other direction for growth to go. It has to come this way. We're either going to be prepared or we're not. I am always be in front of the 8 ball rather than behind the 8 ball, because if you're behind, you'll never catch up. Why are we not, and why haven't we been looking for land that we knew we needed? We have Territory Square that should have already been out of the flood zone, but everybody's dragging their feet and making excuses why they can't do this, can't do that. It's always blamed on council, that council changed direction. Sometimes council changes direction based off of staff's recommendations. And I'm not speaking to you specifically. So I'm tired of staff saying one thing and then council sitting up here saying something else. As far as I'm concerned, somebody should go out tomorrow and start looking for some land that we can better provide services for, not just our police department, our fire department, our waste management, our building that's over there by the little baseball field that's gonna fall on top of our, we have so many things that need to be fixed. I want our police department to always be looked at as a top-of-the-line police department, along with our fire department, along with all of our other services. Stop dragging your feet. This goes back to when I said about tearing down buildings. Why do we make everything worst-case scenario? I know that's not what you're doing, but rather than stop collecting a fee that in 5 years we're going to have to be like, oh, we need money, and now we're nowhere near the amount we need, let's be proactive. Let's start looking for a place that we can start this project, continue to collect the fee so that in 5 years, it's already in the process of being built and we're not at a deficit so large that we can't actually complete our project.
Reason why is currently at this time, we have a rate consultant that's compiling information, including a CIP. You have no CIP, no construction project set out for a police station right now because it's not needed.
It is needed, though. It is needed because our town is growing. We have how many developments that are coming that are, I think the smallest one is 400 and some houses. That's 400 houses at a minimum of 3.5 residents. I don't know how you get a half a resident, but 3.5 residents in that. 400 times 3, that's that many new people just in one development coming. That doesn't count all the commercial that's coming to our street. We are on the safest cities list all the time. We're there for a reason because Florence has always been small and manageable. We are growing. We don't have enough space for more officers. We don't have enough equipment for more officers. Our fire department is right there with them. So because this is a police department conversation, that's why I keep not, but our fire department is right there with them, along with everything else. We hear we need wastewater improvements. We need all these improvements. If we slow this train down, all we're doing is asking for trouble. Today, you may not think it's needed, and our rate person may not think it's needed. Our development director may not think it's needed. I'm telling you, as a council member and a person who lives in this community and is watching this growth and is watching it pace from other areas, we need it. We need to move quickly, because I would rather have more than what we need than not enough of what we need. That's my personal opinion.
Well, what we can do is go back to the rate consultant and discuss this, telling him that the council is not in favor of eliminating this fee. And we will have to see what he says, because he's the one who prepares it as per the statutes. Internally, we can work on this as well. So if you give us a little bit of time, let's see what we can do. We have to be careful because we're getting down to the downtime. This study has taken a long time. We've had a lot of interviews with staff and with the department directors and internally ourselves and with the rate consultant. And we have to make sure that our timelines are falling within the development impact fee approval process. So I can contact him tomorrow and see what we can do.
Sometimes we have to just say, this is where we want to end up, find a way to get there.
Okay.
And that, to me, sounds like what needs to be said is, this is where we want to be. It's your expertise. Figure out how we're going to get there, because we're growing, and we're going to need that police station faster than we're going to not need it. So I'd rather not be in a bind in 3 years.
We don't want to get into a situation where we build a station and we have no people to man it, no equipment to man it. So we have to be very careful about how the planning process goes with this.
Councilmember Larson and then Councilmember Buccellato.
I think Michelle said a lot of it. Yes, this is what we want. We need to find a way to get there. My only frustration is, had we had this discussion during budget development when we were creating the CIP, if we had this discussion when you were having the early conversations with the rate study individuals or group, if we had had these discussions long before, I think we could have come to this resolution during the process. So just something to be aware of proactively in the future.
Councilmember Buccellato.
I just also want to reiterate what they're saying. I don't think anybody expected Arizona to be hit the way it has in the past 3 years. I've lived here my whole life, and I never saw this coming, not like this. I guess we all kind of anticipated what we thought would happen, but it's coming. Developers are here, every 2 weeks, proposing something new. So I just also want to stay ahead of the game on this. I think it's very much needed and very much important. Thank you.
Okay, our staff will work on this. How's that?
All right, well, I understand you guys are going to work on this, but I still think we need to put a motion on the floor that reads, we would continue to collect police development impact fees until a new study rate and fees are adopted in 2024. At that time, the fees would terminate. I don't agree that the fees would terminate. I'd like to strike that portion from the motion, and I would also like to give direction that we need to look at our CIP and start bringing some of those items back to life and forward in front of our council. So I just read it, so that's the motion. Can I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just to clarify, are we still getting this brought back to council to get some direction as to what this plan would look like,
Yes.
or anything along those lines? Okay, just didn't want it to not come back. Perfect, thank you.
Because they have to bring back the CIP, they have to bring back the new study and everything in 2024, but in the meantime, we're still collecting. Thank you. Item B is discussion, approval, disapproval to enter into a cooperative use agreement with Ellison Mills using the Pima County Cooperative JOC MAPO 2025 to remove the existing water and sewer facilities at the entrance of Core Civic Facility in amount not to exceed $500,000. Mr. Chrysalis.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. I think a little bit of history is important. several years ago, as we were working with Core Civic on a separate project, there was a water leak within this vault. And the town's current staff believed that it was Core Civic's infrastructure. Well, over about 12 months, we met with them. They provided us documents, and now we understand this to be our infrastructure. It was dedicated decades ago to the town. We were able to verify their documents and are not disputing that this is our infrastructure at this point. The infrastructure, because it was the town's, has become in disrepair and no longer needed. These facilities were at a time before we had large water lines in the area, so they had an internal or inline booster pump and a lot of infrastructure that's no longer needed, and it's much more difficult for us to maintain and not provide, not be able to provide a level of customer service that we would like. So we were wanting to remove all of the old infrastructure and replace that with essentially underground, like every other part of our infrastructure. It would not be in a vault. It would not be a confined space. It would just be in the dirt. So with that, I feel very fortunate that we were able to, again, negotiate a very favorable fee with Ellison Mills to perform this work. And with that, are there any other questions? Or any questions?
Questions? With that, we need a motion.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 9B as read.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. 9C is ordinance number 730-23. This is a first reading of the ordinance of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, amending Chapter 32 of the Florence Town Code by adding Section 32-120A4, authorizing members of the Florence Teen Council to be eligible for part-time employment with the town. Ms. Lisa Garcia.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Shortly after the Teen Council was approved and we started filling those positions, we found out that a member of our Teen Council was working part-time for the town of Florence. This is, at this current time, a direct violation of the town code. It states that no board members may work for the town of Florence. This is your first reading tonight. It will come on to your next meeting, and if adopted, it will allow for those that serve on the Teen Council to work in a part-time capacity for the summer months. We feel that it's very important that the teens not be limited to earning capacity, nor that they've been limited to the experience of being able to serve on the Teen Council. We will have one caveat as we work with the Parks and Rec Department, division of the Community Services Department, and that would be that any time that the Teens Council is speaking, coordinating, facilitating an event, that the staffers are not allowed to work at that time. They would only be working at events where the Teen Council would not be serving in any capacity. And this should be able to give the members the most opportunity. Prior to this coming before the council, I did have discussions with our two council liaisons, that being Mayor Walter as well as Council Member Cortez, and both agreed to move in this direction so that kids would have the opportunity. Again, this is just a first reading, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Council, are there any questions?
Just for clarification, you said it would be for the summer months. Are we not allowing them to work in the winter months as well? If there was
I apologize. We do a massive hiring during the summer months, but there are children, teens, that do end up working for us year-round in a rec leader capacity, and they would be able to have that as well, as long as it was a part-time position that did not interfere with their duties on Teen Council.
Thank you. Councilmember Buccellato.
I didn't really have a question, I just have kind of a comment. And I remember back when we were in school, they had the co-op that would go on, and a lot of people started working as teenagers and then continued their career here through the town. So I don't think any of our youth, I mean, this is kind of what we want, right? We want people to stay, like you saw tonight with Allie. She started at 15. So if there's something limiting them, then it's holding them back, and it's holding the town back from future employment. So I think that it's a very good thing for them to be able to work throughout the year as well.
And we've been fortunate to where we've had several members that started with the Community Services Department and ended up being full-time staff for the town of Florence, and we're thrilled to have them on our team.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions or comments. I'm glad the item is before the first reading. Item D is recommendation of approval or disapproval to the Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control on a permanent extension of premises for a Series 12 restaurant state license to extend premises for a patio area for Your Behind Barbecue Birds and Bones located at 270 North Main Street, Florence, Arizona. Ms. Lisa Garcia.
This is merely an extension of premises. Council recently adopted the Series 12 license for Birds and Bones, and at that time, the patio area to the rear of their restaurant was not included in that liquor license. By doing this amendment, it will allow for the patio that they did receive a facade grant from the town of Florence to be able to have alcohol as well. So this is merely the town of Florence has to send this over with a recommendation from council. It would go before their board, and they will send over a permanent extension of premises if council does approve.
Council, are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll need a motion.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 9D as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Item 10 is our town manager report.
I'm sure several of you will say it, but I get a chance to say it first. Really appreciate Jeff and what he did this last week, putting together a good representation of what Florence is all about at the League of Cities. You all were a part, or many of you were a part of that, and it was just a great opportunity to be proud to be from the town of Florence. And so what a great booth, what a great opportunity to experience that and kind of show our wares to the whole state. So I was proud to be a part of that, and really appreciate what staff did to prepare for that. So thank you.
Department reports. Are there any questions from any member or comments of council?
I have some. So for the department reports, I know I keep asking for them to be current and up to date. I did want to point out, and especially since our new fire chief is here, that the fire department's report and the way they color code it is really nice and makes it quick and easy to read. So I just wanted to say that I hope you continue that when you start taking over the reporting of that. And for those that don't know, our new fire chief is here, so welcome. We are glad you are here. And then I wanted to talk about, so our C-Click Fix, whatever, Florence for you, I'll never get the name right, and that's okay, because that's not what's important. What is important is that it's, we have worked so hard at this, so hard, and we have debated the expense and justified the expense to just have us fall on our face. And I hate to be so blunt and so just not happy right now, but it is a disgrace what we are doing. When I looked at this report, it was almost, it was not pleasing, because I know it's not true. What is in this report is 100% not accurate. There is no way that we don't have any overlapping outstanding violations, because I hear about them on a daily basis from our residents. When I looked at the ones that were listed in here, they themselves say this is a repeat complaint. And so we have to figure out how to fix this. It has to get fixed, and it needs to get fixed. It should have been fixed months ago. Here it is, it's September 5th, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. We were talking about it when Councilwoman Hughes was on council. That's how long we have been fighting for this, and it just keeps going over someone's head or getting brushed under someone's desk is not a priority. It needs to become a priority. I don't want to see a report anymore that is clearly false. So whoever's writing that report for this needs to understand that my expectation is for honesty. And even if it's an ugly honest and it says, oh my God, we have 100 that are 90 days out, I'd rather see that, because then at least I can be honest with my citizens and not look like a fool when they're asking me these questions, because right now I look like a fool when they're asking me these questions, and I'm saying, well, according to my report, this is what there is, and they're saying that's not true. And then I go out and I drive and I see for my own eyes that it's not true, that these are not being handled. And I'm tired of hearing about it, and I'm tired of coming up here and asking you to please fix this problem and it not getting fixed. Council isn't supposed to do day-to-day business, but when your day-to-day business keeps knocking at my door, I have to answer it. And now I have to start asking for some change. Today I'm not asking, today I'm demanding that there be changes made to how this program is being ran, how we are facilitating the workload, who's getting assigned. It needs to all be fixed, and it needs to be fixed in a hurry, because our citizens paid for this program. Our citizens, as they remind us every day, their tax dollars help support us. So let's start doing right by them, and let's start fixing this. So Harvey, you are, to my knowledge, the director that is over this. Please start figuring out where is the problem, where's the disconnect, and please get it fixed quickly rather than later. And that's really my only thing on, let me just double check my notes. It's one of those days. Yep, that's the only thing I got for reports.
Councilmember Buccellato.
In regards to the C-Click fix, I also echo what Ms. Cortez is saying. We do get CC'd on quite a few emails that some of you are also CC'd on, but the amount that you guys have not seen it's overwhelming at times. And when you check it out, it's true. So I know I've asked for a response and I'm still waiting. It's been about 2 months on one issue for C-Click Fix, and I am waiting myself for a response after about 2 months. This wasn't cheap to purchase, and I think when council gave the directive to purchase it, that's when it should have been taken seriously. Not saying anybody in particular is not taking it seriously, but I think if anybody is at this point, 9 months into owning it and utilizing it fully out of the trial period, I think that, things need to be looked into on why. Because I remember myself sitting in that audience, listening in to when this was first spoke about, and back then it was talked about how serious it was. And like Ms. Cortez said, our emails, our phones, all these things are blowing up, and these are very serious issues because these are all things that were voted on, and these are all part of our ordinances. So that's it. And I'm only bringing that up now because it was on my list to talk about at call to council. So.
And the only other feedback that I had for the department reports, I did already prior share it before the meeting, but just so everybody also hears it, under the human resources report, it would be helpful if the positions that were listed that we're recruiting for, when they're closing, when is the first date of review, as well as the positions that were recently hired. It would be nice to have everybody's names there, not just. So our new fire chief, your name was there, but there's 3 other positions and I don't know who's in them. And I like to know, I really pride myself on knowing who our employees are in the town of Florence, because we value each and every one of our employees. That's why we take such precedence in making sure they're honored once a month. That's why we created the culture committee to present them with an award. We want to know who is working for the town. And before I close the department reports, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself, sir? Because you're here at the meeting, you haven't had that opportunity, and I would have expected you to already have been introduced, so I apologize for that. Mitch, would you like to come up and introduce yourself?
Hello. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. You were standing there. I just can't decide which mic to use.
It's an honor to be here. This is my first day, and everybody that I've met has been very kind with a very warm welcome. I've had a chance to meet with a number of the staff and certainly the members that are on duty with the fire department, and very lively council meeting tonight too. Looking forward to working with all of you in the future. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
No questions, but a sincere welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, so this is our second call to the public. At this time, if there's anybody in person that would like to speak, just come on up to the podium. And if you're online, go ahead and raise your hand. I do see Ms. Sherry Haar, and we'll go ahead and unmute your mic.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Got you. I just want to say thank you to Councilwoman Cordes and Ms. Buccellato as well. Thank you both very much on commenting on the C-Click fix. We're quite frustrated, as you guys are aware. I know I send you guys emails all the time, but just want to say thank you so much for being as passionate as we are in this subject matter. Shout out to Chief Walls and his staff. They've been out there issuing parking warnings to a lot of people that have their cargo trailers. I was one of them. We brought ours back from camping yesterday, so we got a warning on ours today, which we should have, and it's now not in the street and it's put up where it needs to be. But again, I just want people to know I don't think I'm above the law either, and we have to abide by our ordinances. And again, I just want to say shout out to everybody. I think that we're all on the same page, and it's going to be a win-win. And again, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak at this time? All right, closing our second call to the public. Now for a call to the council for current events only. Councilmember Maldonado.
I'd like to say thank you to the staff and thank you for my fellow council and the vice mayor and the mayor for taking me underneath their wing, and Lisa for telling me where to go and learn. I learned a lot last week. I got to speak to a lot of other folks from different municipalities and see how they're doing things, and try not to reinvent the wheel here in Florence, but try to take somebody else's wheel and see how we can make it work here in Florence. The networking was amazing, just some of the folks that I got to meet, and I hope those relationships last and we can have a lot of cooperative partnerships with our surrounding municipalities, because when it's all said and done, it's about our constituents, about making things happen, especially when we can work together as a team versus individually. So thank you, like I said, for the opportunity for going to that, and I look forward to going again next year and learning even more. So thank you.
Thank you. I lost my order. Councilmember Buccellato.
Okay, I just wanted to speak on a couple things real quick. I just wanted to put out there that the Relay for Life is back in Florence, and if you go to their Facebook page right now, you can, if you know a survivor, they can sign up for the survivor dinner on October 22nd. They can also bring a guest with them, and it's completely free, just to kind of celebrate, them beating cancer. So if you guys know anybody that is a survivor, please have them go sign up for the survivor meal on October 22nd. They are doing the survivor meal on a separate day this year. It's normally the same day, but they decided to choose 2 different weekends. The Relay for Life will be held at the high school on November 4th, and they need people to sign up and to get teams together. So I don't know if that's something that maybe the town wants to get a team, or we all take turns and go walk for an hour at a time, or, do it together. That might be something that we want to check out and look into, because it's a really big deal to a lot of people. Another thing is we got to go today to 2 new openings. The Arizona Flower Girl opened her new spot, and I believe it's 240 Main Street or 260 Main Street. On Google, it's still the wrong address, but she's right there on Main, and it's beautiful, and she's got more room to do more things, and to create more things, and it looks great in there. And we also have the Guinness store that opened up in the Arizona Craft Gallery, and that is owned, the Guinness store, little portion in there is owned by the Irish pub owners. So go check them out, get some Guinness gear to wear to hopefully their opening coming up very soon. We already talked about C-Click Fix, and then I just wanted to ask if somebody could please update us on the permit for 4-Star at Western Crossings, if we could get just an update on what's going on with that. I know planning and zoning, it's a big topic, and it's been a big topic on my mind too since we've been speaking about it, and since the meeting for planning and zoning is canceled this week. If we could just get an update on that, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Councilmember Neal?
I just wanted to discuss the hopefully very, very soon openings for Birds and Bones and the Irish Cowboy. I just want to challenge my Florence people to support these places as strongly as they supported them on Facebook and social media. Just takes a lot to have a business, especially those type of businesses, and I just really like to see everybody that spoke so strongly over social media speak so strongly with their wallets when these places open up. Thank you.
Councilmember Cortez?
The list was not over during the last one, so I will kind of continue where I left off during the reports, and I'll just retouch a few of them, and I apologize, Councilmember Neal, I know it drives you crazy when I reiterate myself, but today it needs to be done. Code enforcement, I don't know if we even have one. Some days it seems like we don't, and for the most part I'm going to say we don't. It needs to start happening, and it needs to be done correctly and to the expectations of not just council, but our citizens. And we need to stop closing them out when they're not closed out, because that is one of the falses that we're giving out. We're closing them out, and today when I was driving in, I thought, are we closing them out so that it looks like we're getting them taken care of quickly, which is not true. If it's with the lawyer, say it's with the lawyer. It's so simple to do. And I'm going to request that Mr. Graves be removed from the process, because to me that is not his job to be a part of C-Click Fix. No matter how much Mr. Graves wants to help, that's not his job, and now he's been brought into this world of the emails, and people are demanding things from him that he can't provide them. It belongs in the department it belongs in with the people that it belongs with. If you can't get a hold of that director or that staff member or whoever, our town manager is sitting here and will love to receive your emails and will personally start responding to them if our director and the staff members are not responding and are not doing their job, because that is our town manager's job, to enforce council's ordinances and all of that and ensure that our directors and their staff are doing their job. And so everybody needs to start taking part in that. Code enforcement, ordinances and enforcement, I've gotten a couple emails about people not getting cited by our police department. I'm just going to kind of ask if somebody can send me some clarification. I know that when we start talking about ticketing, that's a whole different issue than just asking somebody to clean up their weeds. And there's a fine balance between what you can do and tell the public about versus what is someone's personal information. And I even sometimes feel that way about the code enforcement. We don't necessarily have to tell you everything because people are entitled to their privacy at the same time as you are entitled to live in a beautiful community. For me, the biggest problem that we are facing right now seems to be a lack of communication, and I don't know where the breakdown is happening, but it seems like the wheels fell off our bus, and I need somebody to put the wheels back on. And I'm sure everybody knows that it's been that way for a little bit. I don't know what happened. I can't pinpoint it to one thing, but I'm asking all of our staff members and everyone else involved to please start trying to help make our process simpler, help make our process better, so that we can help our citizens be at ease, because right now our citizens are up in arms, and if you're not getting the emails, consider yourself lucky, because we are getting, I'd say, 10 easily a day. And to me, that's a lot of emails, because I've been on council for 5 years, and I can't think of ever when I received this many emails from different people, not the same people every time. I'm getting emails from different people. They are coming to us because they feel that no one on the other side of this dais is listening to them. And you have to listen to them. I know that people can come and they can be abrasive, and sometimes that's not nice, and they're not giving you the benefit of the doubt, but you don't understand when somebody has been pounding their fist for 24 months, 14 months, they've been asking for help, and they keep getting a runaround, or they keep getting a door shut in their face. They're beyond talking to you anymore. They have now called your council. And like I said earlier, I'm not your day-to-day boss, I'm his boss. And that should be enough to know that he is getting ridden every day we are on him. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? So if you feel like I'm being intrusive, I'm intrusive because somebody has made it so that I have to get intrusive. I want my town to be the town where people are proud to live, people are proud to work, and we as council can be proud to sit up here on this dais. And right now I'm so frustrated because I feel like people are just not listening, and they have their own agendas, and we need to stop. Your agenda doesn't matter anymore. Your agenda is what council directed everybody to do, what our ordinances say, and what our code says. If there's a law that says that that's the way it is, that's the way it is. You heard Ms. Haar tonight saying she herself was given a warning. She's not above the law. Everybody understands they're going to get those warnings. So I expect to see some movement from people, just because I'm frustrated. And I think you guys all finally get it, that I've reached my limit. I've reached my limit. I told the legal department the other day I was probably going to need to be monitored a little bit, because I'm starting to reach that point where things that are going to come out of my mouth are not going to be nice. So I'm trying my best. I'm going to end with a couple positives. When you look at Allison and you look at all of our members that have received awards and have received our monthly reward, listen to what people are saying about them. They're the person that when they walk by a piece of trash, they pick it up. They don't care whose department it is, they pick it up. All of us need to be that person. We all need to walk by that piece of gum and scrape it off the sidewalk. We need to be that person that'll crawl under a desk and plug something in, or spend an extra hour helping someone else do something. We all need to be that person, because it helps everybody. And if everybody feels like they're valued and everybody feels like they're getting the support they need, it's gonna help us. It's going to help us grow, and it's going to help us be a better community for our citizens and the businesses that are coming here, and they're coming. They're coming. As far as I wanted to thank Jeff Graves, because he did a phenomenal job for us at League. I don't think any of us can ever tell you how much work this man put in with the assistance of Lisa and the rest of her staff. Jeff put our booth together, he tore it down, he got all the things that we needed for the booth. He was just, we told him to go somewhere, he went. We asked him to do something, he did it. He never once, said, oh, I'm tired, or oh, I was gonna go here. We changed his plans mid-step, and he just did it. And I really appreciated it. I appreciated everything he did for us. League was fantastic, as everybody else said. Mr. Salas joined us the first day for the very early morning session that Lisa duped me into going to. I don't do early morning, and I don't do interactive sessions. They drive me nuts. But Chris Salas was there, and I will tell you that the people that sat at that table were in awe of his knowledge. And that made me proud.
Councilmember Larson?
I don't know how I follow up ending to that one. There was, well, I had notes. Hold on, I gotta regroup myself too. Well, let's start off with some positive. I guess I wanted to also, let's start with the negative and work to the positive. So I think that what Michelle said about the communication has definitely been lacking, and I just sort of want to echo those same sentiments, that we feel like we have these most amazing employees and best community members, and we have all really a unified vision for a lot of the stuff. I mean, we're not obviously always going to agree, but for the most part, we have a unified vision for what we want. So we feel like there should be nothing standing in our way. There really shouldn't be. We have the direction, we have the strategy of how we want to get there, and we're just feeling like there's some disconnect where we have angry citizens and we have an upset council, and somewhere in the middle there's something that's not happening. So we need to do some deep diving, and I think all of us are committed to finding out what that is and trying to correct that, because we care about our community. And then to segue into that, I wanted to talk about the League conference, and I was going to echo the same sentiments. I don't know if the League would have gone over so smooth without Jeff being there. He really held it together between the booth and putting everything up and down and making sure everybody was having fun and engaging and where they should be and what notes they should take and how he's going to implement things back here in the town. It was always on point, and I was just so impressed. So I just wanted to speak very highly of Jeff. That was fantastic. And then also I wanted to talk about some of the connections that we made there. I guess for me personally, I met with some local artists in the surrounding areas. We talked about culture and film, and also networking opportunities to bring those types of things into our community, and also the business impacts that those have had to their local communities. So it was great to see some of those ideas and innovation sort of take light in other communities and how it's impacted them. So hopefully we're going to take those things and sort of be able to run with some of those ideas here. Also, it was great to network with other young individuals who had sort of the same strategy, same vision for what they're doing, and I think there was a lot of great relationships formed to where we took those out of the League conference, where we were able to say, hey, we're working on this, what are you guys doing for that? And I think that's one of the great things about the League conference, is taking those relationships outside of there and being able to engage with other community members for the region, and also learning about your own community too, seeing it from a different light, seeing what people see about Florence and what makes us strong from their perspective too. So it was just a great overall experience. So I think once we find out our communication is sort of lacking internally, then we are full steam ahead and nothing can hold us back. So that's all I've got.
Vice Mayor Mendoza?
I think you guys covered just about everything. The one thing I want to bring up is I couldn't find the ordinance, but if we do have a noise ordinance, we need to put a sign up at Western Crossings that says at what time they can start making construction noise. And then we need to start enforcing that. That's all I have.
If I can add one thing real quick, Mayor Walter had mentioned about recognizing our new employees, and something that I had thought about was if Pinal County does their welcome online and social media, where they take their picture and they post them online. All the new employees, obviously we aren't to that size, but that would be a fantastic thing for us to highlight, as our new employees, as well as some of these outstanding employees when they receive their awards, and having some more FaceTime. Even that video about Ali, fantastic. Let's put stuff like that out. So I would just like that community engagement.
And it continues to help build community and bring everybody together. All right, so I am not going to reiterate things that have been said, but I did want to add one more business that has come to Main Street, which is the laundromat. It has air conditioning. The facilities are absolutely beautiful. There has definitely been a lot of thought put into it. We've been working for councils before us, so over a decade, people have been trying to bring Main Street to life. They've been working as a council, working as a staff, working as a community. And in the last few years, we have made such tremendous progress towards that. And I really do attribute that to, over the past few years, we have come together as a council, as a staff, as a community. And what I'm hearing our council saying is, we need communication to keep this going. We see the great things that are happening in our community, and we want to make sure that momentum continues, and we do not want it to be stifled because we have waited far too long for this to happen. I was especially proud of our teen council at the Arizona League of Cities and Towns. They presented themselves very well. They put together such an amazing presentation of themselves and communicated about our town. They intermingled with other teen councils, and I am really looking forward to what they bring back and what they want to propose to our council of what they want as their next steps. That is all I have in my notes. I had some other notes of attending PRTA and some sessions that were specific to the league, but I really want to end with that impactful component of communication, because communication is power, and those who have mastered its effective use can change their own experience of the world and the world's experience of them. And all behavior and feelings find their original roots in some form of communication. So with that quote from Tony Robbins, it will conclude our session this evening, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.